What is going on, Rocket League player? In this video, I'm going to show you just how much money Psyonix has made off of you from purchasing the game, or Rocket Pass purchases, in-store purchases. Alright, what's up? My name's Woodpecker, and for starters, there is no video on the entire internet, no article, no publication that covers this topic, which actually made this research extremely difficult. But like any good researcher, I started with the basics: Google and Wikipedia. Now, at first, I was only going to explore how much money Psyonix has made from credit purchases and Rocket Pass purchases. But like I said, there is no information on that whatsoever. Like, nothing. And I even went to the dark web, which for me is the second page of Google and onward. So there's literally nothing. So I had to work off of some more basic numbers, first starting with how much money or how much revenue Psyonix has made from purchasing the game itself prior to free-to-play. So first thing I had to do was look at the overall player base. So looking at some data that was published by Psyonix, we're sitting at around 75 million players in the game right now, or registered players, which is crazy to me. Like, I didn't realize so many people played this game or have played this game, because obviously not all 75 million players are playing all at once, or else the already terrible servers would probably poop themselves. And it also doesn't mean all 75 million of those players have purchased the game. So outside of just total player base, I needed to find some correlating data that gave me player base plus copies sold. So during my scouring of the internet, I found an article that noted that Psyonix has sold 10.5 million copies of Rocket League as of 2017. Also at that time, they had a player base of 29 million. That gives me some idea of how many copies they would sell per number of players they currently have. But I needed one more piece of information to make this as accurate as possible. So I was able to find a 2016 article which noted that they had $70 million in revenue with a player base of around 4 million. So if they stated they had $70 million in revenue, but you multiplied 4 million times 1999 and you get a higher number, then that means they had things like giveaways or discount periods or so on and so forth, or they weren't able to actually coop that full 1999. And that's a difference of 14%. And we'll use that in our model here coming up. So now what we can do is take that 29 million players, compare that to the 10.5 million copies sold, and estimate the number of copies sold for the player base we now know of 75 million. And that 75 million came from an article published in July of last year, prior to free-to-play, which is key in factoring in this revenue from game purchases. So that puts us at 27.2 million copies sold amongst 75 million players. So if you multiply 27.2 million times 1999 and take off the 14% that we talked about earlier, you get $467.6 million in revenue from purchasing the game. So, you know, almost $500 million. And we still have to deal with things like this. Definitely not, you kidding me? Oh, hold on. First of all, he didn't touch me. Or this. He didn't even hit me on my screen. What the heck? Excellent. The good thing is that this is only a portion of what Psyonix makes off of us. Let's move on. So now let's talk about in-game purchases such as the Rocket Pass, which costs $10. Now, looking at the internet, there's no information on how many players actually buy the Rocket Pass. It's nowhere. I couldn't find it. If you can find it, let me know. But even since the Rocket Pass came out, there's been no data on that at all. What I had to do first is I went on my Discord and I asked my boys and girls in there if they've purchased the Rocket Pass. And out of the 10 people that answered, 6 of them, so 60%, have purchased the Rocket Pass. And then I went over to the family and Reddit and asked the same question to see if they have also purchased the Rocket Pass. Now, out of the 87 replies that I got, 55 or 63% of them had purchased the Rocket Pass, which correlates to my Discord, even though that was a much smaller batch of people answering the survey. But having those two comparatively just gave me a little bit of confirmation that that number is pretty accurate. Now, the people on Reddit brought up some very important factors when calculating who's actually spent the $10 on the Rocket Pass. Because if you get the Rocket Pass and you hold on to all the credits that it gives you, it actually pays for itself. You can just keep on buying the Rocket Pass every single season and not have to spend an additional $10. There's also the people that will just trade in-game items for credits. They'll stock that up and buy the Rocket Pass that way. So those are two methods in which you either only have to pay the $10 once, or you don't pay it at all and just use in-game items to generate credits, and then you purchase it without actually having to spend any cash yourself. But here's the other side of that coin as well, because you have a lot of players that will buy every single item in the item shop every week as it updates, just to have it collected or whatever. You have people that spend, thousands and thousands and thousands of credits on items that they want to see in the item shop, they purchase it, whatever the case may be. So for the sake of this research, I'm going to say that those cancel each other out. You have the people that find avenues of either paying the $10 only once. You have people that find avenues of not paying the $10 at all. And then you have the people that spend a lot of money on this game for the in-game cosmetic purchases. If you don't agree with that, that's fine. But like I said, there's no information on this, and it would have been really convoluted if I tried to host another poll on Reddit to get some more clarity on the topic. So that's what I'm going with. So the figure we get between Reddit and Discord is 63% of the players purchased the Rocket Pass of those who answered. Now, this 63% doesn't apply to all registered players, because all 75 million people who own the game and have played the game aren't active in the game, right? And I couldn't even find any figures as far as number of players who play the game every season or every day. I mean, I could log on to Rocket League right now and there's probably like 1 million players online. Will it be the same million tomorrow? Is it a difference of 250,000 players? Like, what's the mix there? I don't know. So the wild assumption, and this is wild, the wild assumption that I'm going to say is that 30% of their total player base actually purchases the Rocket Pass every season. So that equals 22.5 million players out of their current 75 million who purchased the Rocket Pass. So if you look at this season alone, 30%, 22.5 million players times $10 is $225 million in revenue. And this is per season. And to date, there's been 8 Rocket Pass seasons. So if we want to backtrack, then we first need to calculate the annual percentage growth rate of Rocket League since we got that figure of 29 million in 2017. So if you calculate that out, that actually comes to 26.81% annual growth rate for Rocket League. Now, in order to backtrack appropriately, because it's not like we have one season per year, we have a season per quarter for the Rocket Pass. So what we need to do is take that number of 26.81, divide that by 4, and we get 6.7% is their quarterly growth for Rocket League in their player base. So we can go back 6.7% of 225 million to discover how much money they've made per season off of their player base. So if you take 6.7% off of 225 million, you get 209.9 million for season 1, 195.83 for season 6, 182.7 for season 5, 170.5 for season 4, 159.1 for season 3, 148.4 for season 2, and $138.5 million for season 1, giving us a grand total of $1,429 million. Wow. So yeah, you get $1,429 million since Rocket Pass was announced, unveiled, since it came to this earth. $1,429 million. Okay, that seems insane. Like that's off of a calculation of 30% of their players buy it every single season. That seems insane. That seems way too freaking high. Let's break this down to 10%. 10% of their players buy the Rocket Pass every season, cold hard cash, $10. What does that come out to? $476 million is what you get for 10%. 10% of their players every single season purchase the Rocket Pass. $476 million. And I think that's pretty fair to say 10% of the total player base buys it. There's only 7.5 million players, and there's 1 million players active every single day. And obviously that's interchanging. You don't have the same people every single day. I know that I'm not on every single day, and there's still 1 million people online playing this game. So $476 million plus the $467.6 million from game purchase revenue equals $943 million in revenue. $943 million, almost $1 billion this game has generated. That's crazy. That is so much money, half of which came from you wanting digital makeovers. I'm included in that statement of you, by the way. Like, I know for a fact, like, this is gonna sound pretty sad. I bought the game for Xbox. I also bought the game on Steam. I've bought the Rocket Pass probably 2 or 3 times, right? Because I see something in the item shop and I'm just like, dang it, I gotta get it. I've purchased credits on separate accounts, you know? I've put a lot of money in this game, and don't get me wrong, it's because I support the game. Like, I love Rocket League. I want to see this game grow. And I feel like there's still a lot of areas for improvement in this game. And I know that there's so many other people and content creators out there that feel the exact same way about it. I mean, Lethamir, right before it went free to play, dropped a video where he went on like a 45-minute spiel on things they need to improve in Rocket League. And I don't even know how many things they actually implemented from that video when it went free to play. But like, that's crazy. Almost $1 billion? Like, yo, we need to get some better servers in here. You know what I'm saying? Like, these things suck. Like, I just got kicked out of a game yesterday because the server crashed. And I lost MMR because of it. And got a 5-minute ban, or however long the ban is, from playing competitive because I was kicked out of the server by force. And it was a 1v1 match, so I couldn't even rejoin. I just straight up lost the game. Do technically both of us lose the game if both of us drop out of the server? Or does it matter who gets dropped out first? I guess I got dropped out first. and then he got the forfeit, and I lost. Is that how it works? I don't know. Either way, and I'm being generous with these numbers here. I really do think I am. This is probably pretty freaking close to how much money Rocket League has generated in revenue from the game since its fruition. Now keep in mind, this is not profit. This is not money they're keeping in their pocket. There's a little rhyme for you there, right? This is just money generated from the game because, right, you got to pay people. There's marketing and like all the things you see in the item shop, like the NFL stuff. Anything that has a brand attached to it, you have to pay a license for that. Obviously, they didn't keep all the money that they got from purchasing the game, because if it was listed on Xbox Live, Xbox keeps a portion of that. If it's listed on the PlayStation Store, PlayStation keeps a portion of that. Same thing with Steam, right? They're not keeping everything that I have shown you today. They're only going to keep portions of it. And yeah, I think like advertisement, right? Research and development. Sorry, I couldn't say that with a straight face. We know their budget for that's like $10. But you have things like payroll, server maintenance. Obviously, that's low in the totem pole of budget. But yeah, things like that. But still, almost $1 billion. And even if we go back to that figure before, with 30% of the players purchasing the Rocket Pass per season, like, that's over $1 billion. And I really would not be surprised if they have reached that benchmark. I really wouldn't. And if they haven't, it's probably close to something I've given you today. But yeah, man, like, geez. Anyways, like, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope it made sense. I'm not trying to prevent you or stop you from buying things on the item store. Keep doing it. Obviously, we need to keep doing it, and eventually maybe we'll get something that the community has actually asked for in terms of game development and improvement, like the inclusion of custom-made maps on consoles, or making that more streamlined on computer and PC systems. You know, that would be cool. A lot of us have been asking for that for a long time. Yeah. Anyways, once again, my name's Pink. If you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.